Since their debut in 2020, aespa has been serving hits and controversy in equal measure, proving that being a huge girl group comes with just as much drama as it does success. The girls have faced everything from lip-syncing accusations and shaky live performances to more serious scandals involving cultural insensitivity and political controversies, which have left the fandom in shambles. Almost right from the start, aespa has been absolutely plagued by plagiarism accusations that just refuse to go away, with netizens constantly putting their concept photos and music videos under a microscope to find similarities with other artists' work, but none of these controversies hit quite as hard as the massive scandal that erupted during their Savage era. When the girls dropped their concept photos for the mini-album in September 2021, fans were initially praising SM for how unique and futuristic the visuals looked, but that excitement quickly turned into embarrassment when netizens started pointing out some seriously uncomfortable similarities to existing artwork. The biggest giveaway was a teaser image featuring Karina wrapped around a robot representing Black Mamba, which looked almost identical to Japanese illustrator Hajime Sorayama's art that featured an unclothed woman wrapped around an insect-like robot. The incident immediately became the center of heated online discussions, with netizens split down the middle between those calling it plagiarism and others trying to defend it. Some fans were absolutely fed up with SM's pattern, questioning how many times they'd have to remind SM to properly invest in the creative department instead of just borrowing other people's ideas. Others tried to rationalize the situation by pointing out that the metal material and snake-like elements had been part of aespa's concept since debut, arguing that the pose had existed for so long that it couldn't really be considered theft, but even these defensive comments couldn't ignore the elephant in the room, which is that aespa has been involved in way too many plagiarism controversies since debut. The most cynical netizens started wondering if maybe this was SM's twisted marketing strategy all along, meaning they deliberately started controversy to keep people talking about aespa. It's clear that the Sorayama incident wasn't the first accusation, because previously, netizens argued that the mysterious masks the members were wearing in teaser pictures were eerily similar to British designer James Mary's collection, leading critic Kim Do-hyun to call out the similarities on X and wonder out loud whether SM Entertainment had actually collaborated with the designer or just straight up borrowed his ideas without permission. Things weren't looking good at all, as there were more accusations being uncovered, including a visual artist claiming that aespa's art team had copied his work before SM eventually hired him, and German visual artist Timo Helgert alleging that their Black Mamba music video had been plagiarized as well. While SM's creative team was busy getting dragged for their questionable design choices, the members themselves weren't exactly staying out of hot water either. As many Mi's already know, Giselle found herself at the center of some seriously damaging allegations right at the beginning of her career when someone claiming to know her from her pre-debut days decided to reveal alleged secrets about her lifestyle back in Japan. According to this anonymous poster, Giselle was allegedly a reckless kid who basically touched everything that had to do with alcohol, cigarettes, and illicit substances. This person claimed that her personal life used to be a mess before she suddenly decided to pursue her idle dreams. These allegations painted a picture of someone who had completely reinvented herself for the sake of her career, with the poster claiming that she suddenly went to Korea, changed her phone, and deleted her Instagram. This person alleged that her entire clean-cut idol persona was an elaborate cover-up job, but that there were lots of kids who had photos from the Instagram account she deleted, and that these people, who allegedly drank and did illicit substances with her, were still following aespa's Instagram account. Things got even more serious when the poster included a photo of a woman flipping off the camera and claiming it was Giselle. SM Entertainment was absolutely not having it and immediately went into damage control mode, threatening to take legal action against people spreading false rumors about their idols, and making it clear that creating malicious rumors to defame the members was definitely illegal and subject to harsh prosecution. Unfortunately, the timing of these accusations couldn't have been worse for Giselle, because underage smoking and drinking controversies have pretty brutal consequences in Korea. Luckily for Giselle, she got off the hook pretty easily, as an old childhood friend helped debunk the rumors. But then, when things were finally looking up, she managed to find herself in the middle of a much bigger scandal. SM had to private a behind-the-scenes video for the making of Savage after fans caught Giselle mouthing a racial slur while lip-syncing to SZA's Love Galore during a break in their photo shoot. The scene showed the girls casually listening to the song, but at the point where the racial slur appears in the lyrics, fans noticed that Giselle didn't stop lip-syncing and actually leaned forward when mouthing the word, which made it look like she was emphasizing it rather than just mindlessly singing along. The video went insanely viral before SM tried to do damage control and privatize it, but by then the damage was already done and fans were absolutely livid about what they'd witnessed. What made the situation so much worse was that this wasn't a situation where Giselle could claim ignorance or cultural misunderstanding, because as fans were quick to point out, she speaks English fluently, is extremely active on social media, and attended an international international school, meaning she knew what that word means and why it was completely unacceptable for her to say it. For what it's worth, Giselle did eventually issue a public apology, admitting that she had mouthed the wrongful word from the song and acknowledging that while she had no intentions of doing it with any purpose, she got carried away when one of her favorite artist's songs was playing. Many fans were genuinely surprised that SM even let her address the situation directly, since the company usually prefers to handle controversies behind closed doors. Some appreciated that she took responsibility rather than letting the company issue a generic statement on her behalf. However, the response to her apology was decidedly mixed, with plenty of fans feeling that her explanation came across as more excusatory than genuinely remorseful, which didn't exactly address the deeper issues about why she felt comfortable using that word in the first place. This controversy has continued to follow Giselle ever since, with some fans still remaining critical of her and bringing up the incident whenever discussions about her behavior surface online, proving that in the age of social media, some mistakes are just too severe no matter how many apologies you issue. Just like Giselle, Karina managed to get in trouble right at the start of her career, getting caught up in a huge scandal right before aespa was even officially formed that continued to haunt her for months afterward. Back when she was still known as trainee Yoo Jimin, someone decided to leak what they claimed were screenshots of private conversations where she allegedly trash-talked some of the biggest names in K-pop, including NCT, BTS, and EXO. The alleged screenshots painted a picture of someone who was incredibly two-faced and calculating, with Karina supposedly expressing frustration about SM revealing 2 new NCT members who she claimed weren't even handsome and joking that she should have auditioned for Big Hit Entertainment instead. According to the leaked conversations, she allegedly went on to dismiss EXO as not being as popular as they used to be, complained that NCT wasn't doing well, and even made cruel comments about BTS's appearance, specifically targeting Jimin and RM's visuals. The conversations also supposedly showed her being dismissive and rude to her friends, essentially treating them like disposable listeners who could be replaced if they didn't want to hear her complaints. The screenshots seemed authentic enough to fool a lot of people, especially since the conversations used her real name Jimin and included specific details about SM trainees and upcoming debuts that seemed too accurate to be completely made up. Thankfully for Karina, people who claimed to know her stepped forward to defend her character, completely contradicting what was being said in the screenshots. An anonymous classmate wrote an emotional defense about how Karina had been incredibly kind during her rough patch in middle school, defending her from other students. Eventually, SM released a statement claiming that the rumors were falsely fabricated, and they announced they would be filing civil and criminal lawsuits against all illegal acts that defamed their trainee's character, revealing they had already hired legal representation and filed lawsuits against several accounts with the Gangnam Police Department. Just when things seemed to be settling down for Karina, she managed to walk straight into another massive scandal that turned her into the center of South Korea's most heated political controversy. It all started during the country's intense election season when Karina uploaded what seemed like an innocent mirror selfie of her wearing a black windbreaker with bold red stripes running down the sides, casually captioning it with a red rose emoji like it was just another fashion moment for her millions of followers to admire. But netizens immediately spotted a problem with this picture. Red happens to be the signature color of South Korea's Conservative Party, the prominent number 2 displayed on her jacket perfectly matched the party's ballot number, and the red rose emoji she chose wasn't just a cute addition, but a well-known symbol associated with conservative political messaging, making it look like she was subtly throwing her support behind a specific candidate during one of the most politically charged periods in recent Korean history. The combination of all these elements felt way too deliberate to be a coincidence, especially coming from someone who grew up in Korea and knew the local politics all too well. Although Karina quickly realized her mistake and deleted the post, the damage was already absolutely catastrophic, especially when her outfit somehow ended up being featured on actual South Korean national television news as an example of appropriate clothing to wear to polling stations during early voting, which basically legitimized everyone's interpretation that she had been making a deliberate political statement. Fans called her actions incredibly tone-deaf, considering she's an idol who's supposed to maintain strict neutrality. Almost overnight, she lost thousands of followers, and it seemed like many long-term fans turned their backs on her. Nowadays, aespa is still making headlines for all the wrong reasons because it turns out that even with years of experience under their belt, the girls still can't seem to nail a live performance without sparking massive controversy and secondhand embarrassment from their own fans. When aespa recently appeared on Good Morning America to perform their latest track Rich Man, what should have been an iconic moment showcasing K-pop's global reach instead turned into a complete nightmare that had K-nets questioning whether the group was actually damaging the industry's reputation on the world stage. The overwhelming reaction from back home was pure mortification, with netizens admitting they felt genuinely embarrassed by what they witnessed and wondering why aespa aespa even bothered to show up if they were going to deliver such a lackluster performance. Viewers pointed out that there was absolutely zero strength in their dancing, brutally questioning whether the members had always been this bad at performing. Korean viewers were also baffled by the decision to perform without backup dancers, something that might have helped mask the group's obvious weaknesses, and many couldn't understand why the girls would choose to represent K-pop internationally when their live vocals and stage presence were so clearly not up to par. The problems didn't stop there though, because this specific performance raised the question whether aespa had been lip-syncing the entire time, leading to a vicious online war between defensive fans and critics. A viral post on Pan completely tore the group apart, asking how the girls could have the audacity to travel all the way to the United States just to lip-sync. Fans desperately tried to defend their girls by pointing to fan cams where they claimed you could hear the members' actual voices and even microphone handling noises, arguing that the overwhelmingly positive crowd reaction at the event proved it couldn't have been completely pre-recorded because American audiences would never cheer that enthusiastically for obvious lip-syncing. They insisted that while the broadcast version might have had some backing track layered over it, the performance itself was genuinely live, and they accused antis of deliberately pushing a false lip-sync narrative just to fuel more hatred against the group. Although fans had tried to defend the Good Morning America nightmare, the exact same problem occurred when the group headed to Macau for the 2025 The Fact Music Awards. Netizens expected them to redeem themselves with a performance that would silence all the haters, but that didn't really end up happening. Despite walking away from the event with 3 shiny awards, it was once again their actual performance that had everyone talking. Because even though aespa had presumably more time to prepare for this show after the GMA backlash, they delivered yet another lackluster show that had critics wondering whether they're actually capable of putting on a decent live performance at this stage in their career. Some viewers praised their live singing, but others started picking apart the performance piece by piece, pointing out that the AR track was insanely loud and overpowering whatever live vocals might have been happening, that only Whiplash seemed to have any genuine live elements while the other songs sounded completely pre-recorded, and that their dance moves were still embarrassingly out of sync with each other. Some fans admitted feeling bad for the girls, arguing that they're probably extremely exhausted and overworked, resulting in these lackluster performances. Online users have pointed out that in several fan cams, the girls have bruised knees, and that on their social media, they post pictures of themselves with IV drips, signaling that they're really in need of a break. Unfortunately, these recent performances haven't been the only point of criticism related to this comeback, because aespa's problems seem to extend into the creative process as well. On September 19th, the company decided to release a music video for a remix version of Rich Man that was completely made with AI-generated visuals. Fans absolutely lost their minds over what they saw as a lazy, soulless approach to content creation. As soon as the video dropped, fans didn't hold back in expressing their complete disgust with the decision, flooding social media with complaints and demanding to know why SM even felt it was necessary to put out something this terrible. While the X post announcing the release managed to gather millions of views, the actual YouTube video barely attracted any views, showing that Mize refused to engage with AI-generated content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching, bye!